Raw vlog number 28. Raw vlogs are recorded in front of a live steering wheel on my way to getting my Friday morning coffee delivered straight from the camera to you, raw and uncut. I'm Alan, this is the MTB Alan channel. If you're unfamiliar with it, raw, non-bike oriented content every Monday at 5 p.m. If you're not already part of the crew, hit that subscribe button and join the crew and be getting that stuff. In today's raw vlog, we are going to be answering more of your questions, some quick fire questions. The main question we are going to be answering today comes from BMX racer Ryan, who asked a really insightful question, which was, how has YouTube affected my view of the internet? Before we get to that, regular raw vlog segments. Channel news. Today's channel news is I'm hoping to be up at Sky Park this weekend to get in some rides. I might only ride like sleigh ride because it's smooth and my wrist should be able to hold up to that. That's what I'm hoping for this Saturday. We're also planning to do a full pull video on the luge on Monday. I don't know if you saw Tony the Outsider. He did a where to ride in the rain, and one of those trails was the luge. I have a really good run on the luge from last spring during the Path bike demo, and I'll tell you the story about that in that video that should be coming out this Monday. Yeah, so next segment, point of curiosity. We're almost to the end of 2019. Bike companies will be putting out a bunch of new stuff coming up in the next year, the next season. I'm curious what the new trends are going to be. What do you think the big new things that are going to come out? What new technologies do you think are going to come out in 2020? Is it going to be tire technology, wheel stuff? Are we going to have electric inner tubes or brakes or what? Like, what do you think is going to happen in 2020? That's what I'm curious about. I've been kind of looking around and seeing what's out there. I know that there was some rumblings going on about Shimano's patent on their gearbox, their bottom bracket mount oriented gearbox, which looked pretty cool. That would be rad. Obviously that's probably not going to come out in 2020, but new trends, new stuff coming out. What do you think it's going to be? Point of gratitude. My point of gratitude today, this is based on a conversation I was having with a buddy yesterday at lunch. I'm grateful for all of you people with deep pockets who are also early adopters, people who help fund the R&D that happens in the biking and specifically the mountain biking industry. You know, when something new comes out, like, you know, SRAM's access shifter or whatever, these new technologies in mountain biking, a lot of the initial price of those technologies are a lot of that price, or a lot of that money goes towards reinvesting or paying for the research and development that went into even coming up with that product. So I think generally, at least what I understand it to be, is generally in the bike industry, they are maybe not in the red, but, you know, they're like making a bet on this technology making money in the future. So they invest in research and development and develop these products and then try to recoup on those costs with the price, and depending on you early adopters. So thanks to you for helping make mountain bikes that much more radder, even if some of us have to wait a couple of years to get the newest technology, because you helped pay for it and helped bring the price down in later years. So thanks to you. Is that it? Are we ready for our main stuff? I think so. Let's do our quick fire questions. The first one comes from Spencer. I don't remember username. By the way, I'm gonna start putting your usernames, your Instagram usernames, or wherever you ask me questions. I'm gonna be putting that in the description below. As a note, I have been getting a lot of DMs on Instagram. I will sometimes see those, but I just kind of have a policy of not responding to DMs on Instagram. Please don't take it personally if I haven't responded to you. The main reason for that is that I'm just trying to maintain some level of balance in my life. I started responding to DMs like a while ago, and it just was taking up way too much of my time, and I'd like, you know, to be able to spend some time with my wife from time to time. So anyway, let's get into the quickfire questions. The first question comes from Spencer, and Spencer was asking about how to convince his wife to let him buy a mountain bike that he has the money for. And the reason this is in the quickfire round is because I don't really have an answer for you. That has to do with marriage counseling, and I don't know anything about that. I'm just fortunate that my wife is an avid mountain biker just like me, and she gets it. She gets the investment in that and the investment in the fun. I don't know, maybe if you can talk about, these are things that we need or we like to make us happy, make our lives better. I don't know. You figure it out, man. I can't tell you anything about your wife. 17B Roth asked, why is MTB clothes so freaking expensive? Let me talk to you about my definition of expensive. To me, expensive means it costs more than it's worth. So really the question is mountain bike apparel worth the cost? So I think if you spend, like, say $120 or $100 on a pair of mountain biking shorts, and they last multiple years and they basically look new after you've ridden them, put a bunch of miles on them, crashed in them, put them through all kinds of trials and tribulations, they're worth the money because you haven't had to buy another pair of shorts. I think if you spend, I don't know how much a pair of Dickies costs, but if you do that and they can last you just as long, that's cool too. So like you might find that might make a $120 pair of mountain bike shorts expensive to you. Me, however, I find the comfort levels in mountain bike specific shorts, weather resistance, and just their general durability, I find all that totally worth the money. I have a pair of like 100% shorts that I've been wearing like regularly, and they have just lasted. Hey, quickfire, let's get to the next question. So I don't think they're expensive. I just think that they have a lot of technology in them that make them last and make them hold up. God dang it, Alan, this is a quickfire question. Let's get to the next question. First, let's back in and not run into other vehicles. In case you're wondering, I always back in because you never know when the zombie apocalypse is going to strike, and you might need to jump in your truck and just get the heck out. And all those people trying to back out, they're the ones who are going to get stuck, and they're the ones who are going to be zombies, and you're going to need a bat to smash their heads in later. Cox-a-doodle-doo, MTB, Wade, how's it going? You asked me, I don't have it right here in front of me, but you basically asked, like, what's something in mountain biking that I haven't done that I really want to do? Whistler. I've never been to Whistler, and I just definitely want to go to Whistler. More generally speaking, I want to do more mountain bike trips. I've done one like pure mountain biking trip where we drove up to Santa Cruz. Me and Matt and Kelly drove up there and met up with a mutual buddy, Matthew, and we rode Santa Cruz and stayed in an Airbnb, and that was rad. I mean, I've definitely spent a weekend in like up by Snow Summit and done that, but that's to me just making a reducing trip. But like, I want to do more mountain biking trips, and Whistler specifically. Rich on Two Wheels asks about clips or flats, clipless pedals or flats. There was no question. It was just like flats or clipless. not sure what you're asking. If you're asking like what I ride flats. I rode clipless a long time ago, my first entry into mountain biking back in the early 2000s, and I really didn't like it, but I don't know what that means to you. I ride flats. That being said, I do use the 1UP Components pedals, the composite ones, because I like them better than the metal ones. I feel like they just feel better on my feet, and also when I have a rock strike, it's not as like spine jarring. And then I use the 510 Freerider Pros, which getting back to like mountain bike clothes being expensive, which I wasn't supposed to talk about anymore, but I do feel that the extra cost in those are worth it, just because pedal feel, rigidity, vibration absorption is just like worth a lot. And I've been riding those shoes multiple seasons. Dang it, Alan. Quick fire questions. All right, let's get to the main question. BMX racer Ryan, who I met at the Path bike demo, and we both hung out with Aaron Gwynn, and that was rad, and we sang happy birthday. You asked me how YouTube has affected my view of the internet, and I can't really speak to the whole internet, and because that's a pretty big subject, but I think I can speak to communities on the internet. So, you know, when the internet was fresh and new, we were all very hopeful that we were going to be able to have these like geographically dispersed, fully, you know, flat, democratic, you know, idea-based communities where, you know, rich ideas and discussions would be occurring all over the place, and 5 minutes later the internet became about cat gifs, porn, and trolls. So yeah, so I didn't have a lot of hope in there being anything around communities and the internet. I didn't see it at that time. But I think the thing that I learned from YouTube, or that I have learned from YouTube, is that the internet is, well, it's like anything. It's really not that different in terms of what works and what doesn't work. It's really not that different from anything else that we humans do. So yeah, I mean, like, that idea of, you know, anybody with little to no investment can easily share their ideas. That was like a cool concept. The problem with that is that anybody could share their ideas with little to no investment. Meaning you could have ideas that were tied to no real reality. And there's a word for that, and it's BS, right? Like any idea that has no real tie to reality or real investment, in my opinion, is basically BS. So what YouTube has taught me is that if you do have actual faces and actual real people tied to these like geographically dispersed connections, that can form a community. So with us in mountain biking, you know, we're watching other people on YouTube mountain biking, and we're seeing those people, and especially when that person gets in front of the camera, you see their face, you see how they talk, and you see what they're about. You get a feel, and we humans are you get a feel for that person, and for what they're about. And I feel like we humans are really good at identifying authenticity. You just know when somebody's being themselves, being who they are, and being who they really are. And I feel like that comes across a little bit more readily in the YouTube format, where you have that video of that person. So I feel that when we have shared real experiences, so you get out on a trail, I get out on a trail, we could be in totally different geographic areas with even different terrain, but we can have a similar experience of what it's like to ride a trail, what it's like to be in the mountain biking community, and we can, you know, use the internet to, you know, kind of arch over that and connect on those things and have discussions. And you'll see the same things, you know. We all know that people, when they get like all just about the ideas, it can turn into, like, again, you know, BS discussions. But when it's connected to real things, when we're connecting on, you know, oh, I saw you up at Snow Summit and that day was really rad, or if I've had an injury and you've had an injury and we've, you know, we can connect on those things, I feel like it still makes those things really real. So, you know, I was cynical about the internet's ability to connect communities, and I'm no longer cynical about that. I believe that we can connect, but it does require the real, you know, meet space, shared experiences. And those are my thoughts on that. So yeah, that wraps it up. If you dug this video, hit that like button if you're not already part of the crew and want to get fresh mountain bike oriented content from me every Monday at 5 p.m. Hit the subscribe button. See you soon. Hope you dug it.